It's a Friday morning. That means we get the chance to talk to Mr. Bob Pollock this morning. Good morning to you.
Well, good morning.
Hey,
how are you today?
I'm lovely. It is the month of June. It is strawberry season, and I'm wondering about the strawberry crop this year. How is it doing? Not just yours, but overall.
Oh, it should be doing pretty well.
Should be right at the heart of it right now.
You know,
right?
the great thing about this spring was that we didn't have a freeze to kill a lot of things off. So, made it through that part of it.
Yeah.
Some of the wet weather, you know, we've had a little bit too much moisture.
Yeah, Mother Nature tends to take care of that,
week.
though, doesn't she?
Yeah. One way or another.
Yeah, in the last week it's been wintry.
It cooled off a little
June.
bit. But as we were just talking about, I can remember in high school, in the summers, and college, when I worked for a landscaper, local landscaper, that we'd be coming in sweatshirts, and you'd leave them on most of the morning.
Yeah.
And that was in June. So
Yep.
a couple days like that aren't too bad.
Yep. And there's still a lot of June left, so we can enjoy it. So we think about the strawberry crop and how it has done, and we're getting good reports on it.
Yeah.
Terrific.
So things are just, getting going. So it's a little bit of a delay in maturity of the berries just because of the slow spring. Plants kind of came out of winter and didn't do much for a long time because we had cold soil and cold air temperatures. So a lot of plants sat around for a while and didn't do much. And then we got into that whole stretch of 80-degree days and 60-plus degree nights pretty consistently there for several weeks, and that helped push things along.
Yeah.
If you could get in the field to do it.
479-1160 if you have a question for Bob, or 349-WCCS. That's 349-9227. That's one thing I noticed was when we were delayed getting the garden in this year because it was so wet, but because the ground was so warm because of that, once the garden got put in, I mean, the beans came up like within 2 days.
Yes.
They were ready. They said, come on, baby, just get me in the ground and I'm ready. And everything came up quickly.
And that's the difference. You know, sometimes we try to plant, get in there and rush in and get things in as early as we can. And if the soil temperature isn't right and the moisture content isn't right, the seeds are going to lay there and wait. They won't germinate. So that's a benefit, or it just shows you that you can wait, and we can still get things going.
Still get your garden
Now
up.
you can still miss, especially with some of the cool season crops. If we go from those cooler temperatures and then it gets warm and it just stays warm, they don't like that as well.
Yeah.
They're probably still not going to perform and produce as well as they could had things stayed a little bit cooler and you did plant those earlier, because they'll take those cooler conditions.
Let's get to our caller. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello. What can
I got a question about a weeping willow. Is it okay to trim like bottom limbs off of it? I have a young tree, but it is so full and so big and heavy that the bottom limbs are laying on the ground basically, and it can't even we can't even weed eat under it. It's that full, so we need to get some of those bottom limbs off. Will that hurt?
Guess you can't sit under it either.
No, you sure can. You sure can't even lay on your belly.
So on those weeping willows and other weeping, you can have weeping cherries as well that are very similar. So you've got the main trunk, and then the weeping part is grafted onto the top of that, and so you've got all those branches coming out pretty much from just at one area, right on top, and then they weep down. So yes, when they get down too low, yes, you can kind of trim those off and kind of shorten those branches. You can also, a way to approach it, instead of just giving it a haircut maybe and shortening all those ones that are touching the ground, is to go in at the top and kind of look at which ones are the biggest, thickest branches, and maybe take a few of those out, prune those back to that central point there, because they'll resprout some more. So take those oldest ones off, and usually the biggest, thickest ones are the oldest ones.
Right.
And then they'll also be the longest and have the most growth on them. So by going back to that central point, you may be able to kind of thin it out, open it up.
Fullness out.
Yes, because that really thickness will work against us, especially if we get into some leaf diseases or something like that, where you've got that just wall of foliage there, and then some of those branches will shade other branches out. So that's another reason just to kind of thin it, open it up.
Do we need to paint where we cut like the main branches?
No.
Do we need to paint that? It's okay.
No, that will.
Okay.
Yes, that will heal on its own.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much those paints are for cosmetic purposes only. Just maybe hide a lighter color inner wood and just make it not as noticeable where you make the cuts.
Okay, I thought maybe it had something to do with insects getting in it or whatever. So, okay.
All righty.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. We have a question here that has been handed to me, so the caller didn't want to come on the air. What's the best general all-around plant food for the vegetable garden?
Okay.
They don't say what specific vegetables.
Well, okay, so most vegetables, of course there are exceptions, but most of them are flowering and fruiting vegetables. Okay. Some, cabbage, lettuce are going to be different, obviously. But most of those vegetables, we'd like to see something a little higher in phosphorus. So if you have a 10-20-10 or a 15-30-15 fertilizer, and usually even the water-soluble fertilizers will fit into that category, and especially if they're labeled for vegetables, they'll have that higher phosphorus content than they will nitrogen or potassium. We don't want to overdo it on the nitrogen because we want those plants, we want them to grow, and so they usually have, those vegetables all have that vegetative phase to begin with, where they're growing the plant, and then the plant will get a certain size, and then it'll start to flower. If it gets under stress, it'll flower sooner than later, usually, because that kind of signals that, hey, I got to produce some seed to repropagate myself, to keep me going. But that, in general. Now, we can tailor that more, because if we have a history of applying high phosphorus fertilizers, really anywhere, that phosphorus can build up over time. So by soil testing, or by plant tissue testing, you can test plant leaves, and a lot of growers, especially in greenhouse environments, not as much outdoors, but especially on indoor culture in high tunnels and greenhouses, and especially on tomatoes, they will do leaf analysis. So little DNA test. They pick leaves, they put them in a bag, send them to the lab, and then they will analyze what's actually in that leaf. So what the plant has taken up, what nutrients are in the leaf as opposed to just what's in the soil, because that can vary between what's in the soil and in the plant.
Let's get to our next caller. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Very
good.
Well.
How are you?
Good. So you were talking about strawberries, which they sounded delicious. And I was wondering, if I wanted to pick those strawberries, is there anywhere local I can do that?
Yes, there are local places to do that. Couple of options that I'm aware of. One is out in Brush Valley area, and then also one here locally in Indiana. So yes, there are places. I know they both advertise on Facebook and email lists. And go ahead.
Does Yarnex have them? I heard that they did strawberries.
Yes, they do. That was one of the
great.
2 places that I'm aware of that has Pick Your Own.
Yeah, they'll be on the air with us after 9.
Other place, there's a number of vegetable growers that also they may raise and harvest their own for sale at their markets or at farm markets they go to. But those are 2 Pick Your Own places.
2 Pick Your Owns. They'll put up signs.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye now. And there you go. Yeah, it is the strawberry season. And folks they do like to get out into the fields and get their own sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Either way. that works.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a fun experience. It's a good activity for kids.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun to watch them out in the field and
discover the joys.
Yes, discovering and
Discover
picking
the
and
joys.
Eating, and
every once in a while they stuff one in their
big
mouth.
red smile
You
that they have all over.
You can tell which ones have been indulging a little bit too.
It's pretty exciting.
All right. Well, we're just a minute away from the end of this segment. You have something there.
Well, yeah, I just want to mention, I was asked to mention that the Penn State Extension Master Gardener Program is accepting applications for the new class for the 2018-2019 year. And those classes will be held from October through April. So that's a training program if you would like to become a Penn State Master Gardener. There's an official training program that everybody goes through to participate in that. And so if you'd like more information on that, you can call the office at 465-3880, and they will get you the application information out to you.
Thanks, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you.
101.1 FM, AM 1160 at 7:58.